seamless journey, an exciting experience. Welcome to CIHMS, all-in-one hotel management solution, enhancing every moment of your travel experience. The CIHMS is the check-in process, enabling customers to check in online quickly. Customers can proactively request room services via their smartphone. Confirm service package usage solely by facial recognition. CIHMS, a comprehensive ecosystem that combines accommodation with entertainment activities into a seamless experience. Elevate customer experience at various points of sale by enabling room charge. Checkout procedures are simplified. Scan QR code, view transactions, and pay bills via many modern payment methods. We always prioritize customer experience. Customers' trust and satisfaction are our mission. Let CIHMS's technology innovations support sustainable business development. Your digital transformation journey begins here. CIHMS, all-in-one hotel management solution. Everyone desires a seamless journey, an exciting experience, a fulfilling trip. Welcome to CIHMS, all-in-one hotel management solution, enhancing every moment of your travel experience. The CIHMS platform streamlines the check-in process, enabling customers to check in online quickly. Customers can proactively request room services via their smartphone. Confirm service package usage solely by facial recognition. CIHMS, a comprehensive ecosystem that combines accommodation with entertainment activities into a seamless experience. Elevate customer experience at various points of sale by enabling room charge. Checkout procedures are simplified. Scan QR code, view transactions, and pay bills via many modern payment methods. We always prioritize customer experience. Customers' trust and satisfaction are our mission. Let CIHMS's technology innovations support sustainable business development. Your digital transformation journey begins here. CIHMS, all-in-one hotel management solution.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Welcome to all our guests that present in VinHMS webinar with the topic ESG, the key to sustainable development, the role of ESG in the hospitality industry. And I'm Chami, host of this webinar, and will accompany you this morning. This webinar series are organized monthly by VinHMS, a technology company specializing in providing comprehensive digital transformation solutions for the hospitality industry, with the goal of updating the latest specialized information and useful knowledge in digital transformation growth to drive revenue, reduce cost, and create memorable customer experience. And you can access the link in the bottom left corner of the screen to learn more about VinHMS during the webinar. And at the beginning of today's webinar, I would like to respectfully introduce the presences of our speakers. First of all, welcome Dr. Morgan Caron, ESG Director of Vingroup and VinFast. And as an experienced expert working in the field of ESG, would Dr. Morgan want to send a few words to our guests today?
Thank you very much for the intro. It's lovely to be here. I'm looking forward to a healthy discussion, an energetic discussion. Here's some key words from Quang and Kuang. They're also experts in the field. Look forward to having a healthy discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. And secondly, welcome Mr. Vũ Linh Quang, Managing Director of Outdoor Green.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Quang. Thanks for the introduction. Hope that we'll have a very fruitful discussion about the ESG, and hopefully by the end of this session, each of us will have our own definition about it, and that will be the key things for us to be able to apply for our business in the hospitality industry.
Many thanks, Mr. Quang. And the last one, Mr. Nguyễn Đình Cương, Managing Director of Clavis Area. And coming to today's webinar, does Mr. Cương want to send any message to our guests before we start the discussion?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So ESG is something very new, also very unclear things for everyone. So we hope that via today's discussion, we can share more information and the real practice in the market for everyone to take a reference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, our three speakers, for accompanying us in the webinar number 34. And all our dear viewers, you can interact directly with the speakers at any time through the chat box on the right side of the screen. And don't forget to participate in the survey and drop emotional icons to express your agreement or disagreement during the discussion. And firstly, to kick off the webinar, I'd like to have two questions that I want to hear from all our viewers. You can see the questions in the screen, so you can easily think about it, and please comment in the chat box to show your opinion, to share your opinion with us. The question one is, have you ever heard of ESG standards or any definitions related to sustainable development? Yes, please comment. I think that today we have about 40-50 viewers are now viewing, so please share your opinions or your idea or anything, any question, any concern to the chat box. While we are waiting to all of them commenting, answering, typing. I like to share my own view. According to me, I has been working in the hospitality industry for quite a long time. Not really long, but yes, I think a few years. And in recent years, many definitions such as ESG or sustainable development are gradually becoming popular because the world is increasingly paying more attention to the issues of protecting the environment. And we know that ESG is the first three letters of environment, social, and governance. And we can hear it more and more popular this day. So yes, there's some viewer started to comment. The viewer with the nickname, with the username Chocolate Resource, say that yes, they heard many times. Therefore, for all of the people who work in the hospitality, we can hear that. And I think we all know about the ESG, but not really specific or not really details and how to apply it into the business. So this is why we have this webinar to all our three experts to show their opinions or their ideas so we can somehow have or assist all the viewers to have a more general and more detailed and in-depth view of the problem, of the issues. The viewer nickname Chocolate Resort also comments that all booking platforms have the sustainable page. Yes, exactly. And the viewer named Nhan said that in her opinion, ESG means economy, society, and governance. Yes, I think we can have why people are still typing, sharing their opinion about the first question. I would like to bring out the second question, so people have more encouraged and more questions to think about it before we start the webinar. The question number 2, as you can see on the screen, is what are your thoughts on integrating sustainable factors into the business development strategy in the hospitality industry? I guess the viewer named Linh Anh says, it's a thank you and the good morning, say hi. Thank you. Yes, of course it is important. As the viewer Chocolate Resort says, yes, I can share from my point of view. Personally, I am a person who also work in the industry and who is quite concerned about the environmental issues because it's affect to our following generation. And so I also regularly observe local businesses and hotels on how they protect the environment. Therefore, I also feel that sustainability is extremely important. And I also think that business need to elevate it to a strategy and focus on development. Yeah, the viewer named Anna said that customers recently tend to choose stay hotels hitting green. Yeah, I also see that trend I think in about 2 or 3 years recently. And I believe that this is gonna be more and more popular in the near future. The viewer with nickname Linh Anh comments that I have a question for Dr. Morgan. Which part is the most or the more important in the term ESG? Yes, we also have the Q&A sections at the end of the webinar after we been through all the discussion and question today. So please be assured that all of your questions will be answered by our 3 experts here. Just our dear viewer, please continue to comment your idea or sharing your thought, anything. So let Rizal say that he preferred to mention about architecture and technology. I believe that we've been talking about that. We've been discussing about that in the webinar today. So while the world faces many complex changes related to the environment and society, and those of us who work in the hospitality industry and businesses in general are also confronting many macro challenges and faced with the challenges of climate change and limited resources. Sustainable development is not just a choice, but a responsibility. In particular, building and developing the hospitality industry, I believe that it not only aims at economic prosperity, but also focus on protecting the environment and flexibly meeting the diverse needs of the society. And this is truly not a challenge, but it's a really hard challenge that the whole world is paying special attention to, and everyone is talking about that this day. And in today's webinar, we can delve into ESG and the role of ESG standards in shaping the development strategies of hospitality businesses. And we can gain valuable insights from industry experts and explore how ESG principles can contribute to the sustainable growth of our industry. And we'll come to the first part of our discussion today, the impact of ESG on the hospitality industry. And I would like to invite Dr. Morgan to start today's discussion. Dr. Morgan is the ESG Director of Vingroup and VinFast. Would you please share a little bit about the definition of ESG? Because although it is said that ESG is becoming increasingly popular, but the scope of this topic is very wide. So could you share it with us, please?
Sure, thank you. And thank you for the comments, and I'm sure we'll address that as time marches on. Some of the things that people may not be aware is that sustainability has moved a long way, right? And it's migrated into a better form. If you recall, many of the companies in the past used sustainability and misappropriated that in their comments, and they exaggerated it, right? And then ESG came along, environmental, social, and governance, which was a remarkable paradigm shift for all companies. Because in my opinion, ESG puts a color back into the business model and broadens the bandwidth of sustainability. Now, ESG is a fairly common understanding globally, but in Vietnam, it's still immersing and becoming a very favored approach for tourism. And some factors that relate to the long-term sustainable development of a business, right? And these are incorporated under the three pillars of environmental, social, and governance. So environment technically is just really the how you manage your natural environment, your climate change, waste disposal, pollution, and biodiversity. Biodiversity with being one of the big key factors. And then your social aspect is your business interactions with your community, your health and safety, your labor rights, diversity, equality, and inclusion. All that falls under sociology aspect. And Vietnam actually has a very strong fundamental presence with sociology, being a communist country, right? The third one is the combination of both of those, with a little bit more meat on the bone, as to say. And the business is really about your leadership, transparency, your risk management, your business ethics, and the legal and regulatory compliance that's usually formulated into a framework, and it composes many elements of different standards. The global industry is very colorful at the moment. You've got your SDGs, you've got your CDP platforms, you've got your SBTIs, all these acronyms that not many people are acquainted with. I'm not too sure if Kwan would like to elaborate on that, or Kuang. Thank you for the opportunity.
Me? Or Kuang? Are you referring to me, or are you referring to Kuang?
Either one, it's fine. No, it's okay if you'd like to add some more words.
So I think that I really like your interpretation about the ESG. So I put down a lot of notes here about great interpretation about the definition of ESG. So I myself, actually, I'm an architect. So my background is not so much related to the S, social, or the G, governance, but it's more related to the E, which is environment. So in my daily life, I'm designing buildings, so I do a lot of building certification. So I'm more concerning about architecture, I'm more concerning about the energy, and so water and all those kind of things. So I think my definition of ESG is somehow is back to our principle is to sustain the business, to make sure that the business can be last longer and provide better and more healthy option for the tourists, for the guests, and also. And that is our common goal is to make the earth which is more sustainable, which is more greener, and also we can sustain it longer. So yeah. So later on, and when we have more discussion about the E for the environment, and then I'll discuss more about the green building.
Yes, many thanks, Dr. Morgan and Mr. Kwang, for your sharing. And when saying about sustainable development, we often wonder about investment costs. I mean, there's many other factors, but let's say first about the cost. The question, how does it cost, appear maybe at the first, at the top in the mind, when a lot of people mind when they think about to invest the sustainable development. So is this a smart investment or a financial burden? May I invite Mr. Kuang, the founder of Climate Area, to share your opinion for all our viewers?
Yeah. So normally, like when we talk about ESG, everyone think like, okay, we need to invest more for ESG, like maybe a green building, or maybe some of the activity-based or some upgrading of any system. So the thing is, when we think about ESG, our view is more about like we can break down into key things. One is about the improvement of our daily activities. Like we can start with some very basic things, like how we can maximizing our recycle of everything that we use every day. And actually that's at cost with no further investment, extra cost for us. And the second thing is how we invest based on like the new investment, based on the like operational investment. For example, like you already have a hotel, you need to upgrade. Maybe that's like you invest a lot for the big investment, big upgrade, like renovation the whole hotel, or maybe just like improve part of the operational, like improve how you can improve the water, how you can improve the air, how you can improve the connection with the society, those things like that. So in that case, I think like to be fair with ESG, the thing is about like how we can transform the whole operational, not just about the investment burden, financial burden for the enterprise. And we should look at it's the whole return on investment, not just when we invest, not just in the 1 or 2 years, but also like how it impact into our business for 5 years, for 10 years, right? Because like, for example, very basic, when you invest for the hotel, you look at the return on investment, let's say like around 10 years, right? Before it's just like 8 years, but now with this kind of economic situation can be 10 or 12 years. So actually, the investment for the green hotel need to look at the whole, that from the beginning until 10 year or 12 year. So what's really the impact, the value that you receive when you really focus, really like pay attention to the ESG for your hotel.
Thank Mr. Kung for your sharing. And as an architect with many years of experience in building green buildings according to ESG standards, and I mean, which is required a large amount of investment, both in time and money. Mr. Quang, can you share a little bit more from your views about this?
I think that this is a very interesting topic, whether the sustainable development is a smart investment or that one is a financial burden. So I think that designer, when we started project, we start with 1 to 500 master planning. We start with the master plan ideas on how to be able to integrate the building or the massing volume into the piece of land, to make sure that we respect the identity, we make sure that we respect all the building code and all kind of like building density, to make sure that we can be able to maximize the GFA for the clients. But recently, in the last 5 years, also a lot of clients right now that they are more careful about how they're going to select the site, how they are going to develop, or how many buildings that they're going to make on the piece of land. There are some clients they want to maximize the GFA, but on the other hand, there are some clients they rethink about it. And perhaps that they don't want to maximize the number of keys, but they want to have lowest number of keys, so that the guests can be able to have more greenery. They can have more trees, they can have more facilities, which is more important as the experience for the guests. So I think financial burden is actually the first thing first, because compared to something that we did about 10 years or 15 years ago, right now, when you develop something that is more sustainable, obviously that you have to pay more money, right? There we have to utilize better materials, we have to use original materials, we have to use more energy efficiency equipment, better HVAC system, better glazing. We have to use a lot more sensor, we have to use a lot more different kind of technology. So firstly, that will be the financial burden, at least, right? So the clients, they have to pay more money, especially if they are targeting international quality or international standard like LEED, which stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design from US Green Building Council, or they can be used the local system called Lotus, developed by the Vietnam Green Building Council. But in general, the clients, we were looking something about 2 to 5% more than the conventional buildings, which is non-green. But later on, about 5 years, like Mr. Kung said, about 5 years or 8 years later, the payback period, after the building in full operation, you can save more energy from the water, you can save more energy from the energy bill, from the water bills, and slowly that you can be able to pay for all the initial investment that you put into that building. So, and then after 10 years, that will come your profits. So I think that to conclude my answer, that will be the financial burden for the first couple of years, and then slowly that will pay off, and it's become a smart investment.
Thank you, Mr. Quang. Very interesting. So when we talk about the investment, I mean, if everyone care about how the result of the investment will be. So it is necessary to promote the images of a hotel that has been developing according to sustainable criteria to the right customer. I mean, the right segmentations of the customer at the market, and how to do it effectively. Yeah, I would like to invite Dr. Morgan. Can you share with us?
Sure, and I appreciate the comments from the other two panelists. I think they, especially the Quang, touched on some very great sentiments for shareholders. You know, the long term, just reverting back, the long term investment outcomes is substantially increased when you do early investments, right? And we will touch on a little bit later about carbon credits and GHG fundamentals a little bit later, the E part, which he will be very much focused on. But just going back to sustainable business to the right customer segments, I think that there's a to understand the consumption behavior of your tourism market is very important, right? And their preferences. If you understand that, if you work through the tourism industry, you've got ecotourism, you've got wild tourism, you've got the older tourists, and that is really creating a profile of your customers. As in the industry of hospitality, we always talk about attraction, accessibility, accommodation, amenities. I can't remember the last A, but those fundamentals then need to be focused with a green look at when you're looking for sustainable businesses in the long term. And it should be type specific to your organization or to the value stream where your greatest activities are taking place. Perhaps Koen can elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, we did a research on the number of hotels that are under developing and also under developing in the last 5 years. So one of the very key things we see that more and more hotels are really like promoting about their sustainability and also their wellness service to the end user. Because as we can see, like in terms of the consumer, in the last 5 years, there's many things that's changing the whole world, right? Like COVID, then people care more about the wellness, care more about the life value, the value that they want to receive from the service provider, like especially hospitality, where they expecting for the good experience, safety experience. And also not only in terms of COVID, but also like we can see the trend of the consumer, like they attending more about the sport activity like trail, running, right? So I think like the very key thing about like the consumer become more and more looking for the service that match their lifestyle, their life standard. And in that case, like hotel actually have more advantage because like when more and more consumer they care about the good value, they understand the importance of the good value, and especially when the hotel really like focus on that, will be more outstanding compared with other one in the market, and that's very like helpful in this very competitive market of the hospitality. Like last month, we checked a very rapid surveys in the VinHMS area, where we have a lot of hotel and resorts, right? And the fact that still have many hotels are not really come back. I mean, they still is temporarily closed, even after COVID. Even there's a more highway. But the fact that more hotel in VinHMS area is very actively and have a lot of guests traveling with a very good operational standard from their side. So I think like actually the changing behavior of the consumer is really matching with the changing of the trend of the sustainability or ESG for the hospitality. So by matching that standard, that will be the great opportunity for any hotel to following on that trend. Yeah.
Thank you. As we listen from Morgan and Koen's sharing, can you, Mr. Quang, also share about your opinion?
I think that I have this kind of question a lot from my clients because when they do their green investment, they want to make sure that all the sustainable practices that they have done in their project will be known by the public. So they always kind of ask me that, do you have any, website, or do you know any association, or you know any way that we can be able to promote our buildings once we get the green building certification, right? So I think that my answer is that firstly, that you have to kind of like align your business with international standard, or at least the reputable local standard. There will be a lot of standards out there, like Mr. Morgan, he mentioned a lot of names that even myself, when I work in the industry, I hardly, heard them, especially in Vietnam. Recently that we heard about SBTI, recently that we heard about GRESS, we heard about all those kind of things, but those are the terms that may be the more popular in Singapore, maybe popular in other countries, but not yet in Vietnam. So I think that firstly, when the clients, they have those kind of certification, make sure that they will spread that. They can put that on their website. They can have sustainability tabs in their website. When people go there, they can click into that. They will know immediately what kind of measure that building had been put for their business regarding to the energy, regarding to the water, regarding to the indoor air quality, regarding to the greenery, regarding to many things, even solar panels, even the way that they can be able to reduce the single-use plastic. So those are very common things, but when we deliver that to the right customer segment in the right message, they will appreciate that. And it doesn't have to be something that is fancy, or doesn't have to be something that is luxury or things like that. It can be the very, small images posted by the staff there when they're trying to use like double page printing, right? Or when they use to reduce the single-use plastic. So those are the good images that can be posted on the Facebook, on the social media, to make sure that is and slowly the customer who like about environment, the customer who like about and respect the environment, they will follow and they will want to go there again and again, to support the business and to support the green business that they are doing.
I may have a small input. So one of the things we look at the market now is actually a lot of travel agent, international travel agent, when they want to work with any hotel, now they are requesting the hotel to show their performance, their action, their roadmap on the ESG, even the carbon. Like if I send a guest to you, how much carbon for the whole trip, or how whole day to stay in the hotel. So not only consumer, but also nowadays your partner will care about your ESG activity, your ESG performance. And also, as we see, very important, when we talk about ESG, so S is about your employees and your local community. So as we also understand, right, so hospitality is all about the people business. So our guest is our staff is the one who provide the best services to our customer, and that brings very big impact to the experience that our customer have during the whole stay in our hotel or resort. So ESG actually also really impactful if we care about our employee. When we care about our employee, they are the very important to spread out the service that we provide, the standard that we provide, not only to our guests, but also to the local community that we stay, right? Especially some, as we understand that a lot of hotels nowadays, not only in the city area, but also in some very new area, right? Like if you go to some new area, it's like you heavily impact on the environment there. So our employees, our local community is the one who also understand the impact of your ESG or the impact of your hotel to their area, to their local life. So through the whole activity base through the whole, focusing on the even not only external, the guest, but also internal. We have to impact more to our imaging, our branding, our service quality, our performance to the market. Yeah.
Yes, many thanks for the enthusiasm sharings of all our three speakers. And after listening to all of this, I'm very confident that our dear viewer, our dear guests will have more knowledge about the ESG as well as how to reach the right customer segments. And we talk a lot about the ESG, and it is undeniable that it's not just a 2 or 3 or 5 year change, but it's become a long way, a long-term growth, and even becoming the future of the whole industry. So we're coming to the second part of our discussion today, which is the future of ESG in the hospitality industry development. And the ESG is currently is a standard that many businesses are aiming for today to attract more customer, to reach a higher level in the organizations, and to develop sustainability, which shows that awareness of the environment and social issues have increased more, obviously. But when will ESG influence the diversity and uniqueness of the future travel experience? And what do businesses need to do to effectively combine economic development and sustainable development? And for this question, yes, please, I would like to invite Dr. Morgan.
Thank you very much for that. And just to satisfy Quang on his the acronyms, apologies for that. I'm sure that the architectural segment has more horrific abbreviations than what we do in ESG. But send me a names list and I'll see if I can learn them. Thank you. In terms of where companies need to understand the future of ESG in the hospitality industry development, I can only reflect at the moment in our VIN pool. It's one of our segments that we have in VIN Group, and we approach it in a somewhat two-phased approach. We look at the visual aspect, which is really to do with your social understandings for a company. And then we look at the things that you don't see, which is usually on the environmental side, where you capture your GHG, you report your carbon credits, your GHG reduction, you do your energy systems in like solar, your BESS systems, your storage systems for your energy. You do your regulatory requirements as such. And where the industry actually gets to see it, your tourism, is when they go online, they use AI, right? Semiconductors is a big focus at the moment, right? We use that even in our, all over, even in our VinFast cars for high-tech technology, right? So there's two different approaches here. There's the background approach where you have activities taking place, which are usually part of your sustainability report, and then the visual aspects that your tourism see, and they usually focus on the activities that they see. For instance, if you have a plan in place for sustainable development in terms of using recyclable materials, right? Circular economy and all these big buzzwords. But how we approach it from a VIN Group perspective, we actually do a due diligence on our business streams. We create a group framework that entails things like responsible supply chain sourcing. It's a huge connection. We haven't discussed that yet. Now, people want to know what is your carbon footprint on your GHG. and your reporting requirements. If you do early stages and you implement energy efficient methods, you have a long-term saving, and then you also have a obligation for regulatory requirements for Vietnam that are coming very soon. So we do a framework. We do also then implement KPIs for each segment of our P&Ls, and the hospitality industry, VinPool, have their own KPIs. We ensure that we have policies and procedures that are in place. We have things that are tangible and measurable. Before, I see some questions coming over here and say, how do you determine that? Well, that's what ESG is about. It's really about tangibility and measurability, right? And then there's the financial aspects, because there's ESG finance, right? So you set aside ESG, and what you're going to do for that year is your budget requirement. So we do those, and then the KPIs are then every year we do a roadmap of where we'd like to go. And that needs to have adjustability, right? So that the market changes so fast with your platforms and your regulatory compliances and that. And what I find is, if you look at all the .coms and that, where they do statistics and that, they always talk about so many people of your tourisms and that, from a statistics perspective, prefer going to green hotels. And how do they know about that? Because you have to choose the right platform where you communicate. And you have to regularly review your platforms, because AI is moving so fast now. So you've got those applications that need to change. People don't want to use cash anymore. So that people are looking for what is easiest for them to circumvent and book a hotel. If this hotel has been advertised as being a green hotel, well, how do you measure that? And what is the reporting requirements that I can check? And one of the focus that we do every year is we create a sustainability report that adds a lot more color to your business model. And that's where most of your investors also focus on. They want those sentiments. They don't want to invest with organizations that don't have sustainability or ESG, because it's high risk and it's a reputational concern. I think perhaps Kwan could actually elaborate a little bit here on this topic. It's quite interesting, to say the most.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. I think this topic is very broad topic to me. I think it's more suited for you when you manage a lot of different properties and along the hotel chain, many buildings. From my side at the Green Building Consultants, the question is whether the ESG will influence the diversities and uniqueness of the travel experience. I think clearly the ESGs will influence that a lot, especially the diversity, because in Vietnam, that we know the story, we have a lot of beautiful lands, beautiful area. We have beach, nice beach. We have mountainside, we have hillside, we have lakes area. So if we can be able to go back to the ideas of local identity, that is really important. We see a very bad example in some other area like Phu Quoc recently, that people were saying that you copy a lot of style from other countries. So sometimes that is whether they will rethink that, whether should we kind of like promote the local identity, the uniqueness of each of the piece of land, or we copy the style from Europe, for instance. So I think that if we kind of like look at the ESG, we look at the way to make our property become more valuable, especially the local characteristic, and then we'll have more diversities there, and that will bring the uniqueness for the travel experience. Yeah, that is my thought and sharing about that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Morgan and Mr. Quang, for your sharing. And we talked a lot about other factors, and now I would like to mention the factor of technology. As I think 2 or 3 of our viewers also mentioned in the chat box, the technology plays a very important role in implementing ESG. A sustainable development strategy must be planned, measured, and implemented according to a streamlined process to achieve the most optimal effectiveness. With many years of experience working in the technology field, according to you, Mr. Kuang, in your opinion, what is the importance of technology in implementing sustainable development strategy?
Yeah, so nowadays we can see that the technologies are really helpful to contribute to the ESG in general. One of very simple thing we see is more and more is about the invoice. Like now we not only have a paper invoice, but we have a digital invoice. We not just bring out the contract to sign, we have a digital contract. That's a very simple thing that we can see that how we reduce reduction of the paper use. But beside that, there are more and more impact of the technology to support the management of ESG. One of the very simple thing is like Mr. Quang mentioned earlier, like more and more hotel will have a technology like sensor to reduce of the waste of like water, of energy, right? In the market now, even they have the AI to monitor the elevation operational. They can reduce the energy consumption by the elevator operation. And also there's more technology which is very simple but very helpful. Like they are trying to use the generative AI, open AI, to become the easier way for people to learn the new information. Now, like before, we can like take time to really train the people to understand something. But now with the AI, you can reduce the timing, the cost for the training, and also suggestion you for many more activity practice you can apply for your hotel in terms of the ESG. And one of the very key things when you see, and I also very, very agree with Dr. Morgan, is about the ESG is more and more like embedded into the daily operational, monthly operational in every decision. So technology will help to monitor the performance once we make any action that we embedded the ESG into our business, right? Because it's similar like the trend when we talk about the mobile finance, mobile banking. We talk about the embedded finance, like you buy now, pay later. So embedded ESG into our daily operational, requiring the technology to support. Even like when one of the very important thing we can learn from the banking sector is they apply the technology to recognize the fraud or risk in any decision making. So it's maybe more and more in the future we can see that technology will support hospitality to identify the risk they may have in terms of the operational. So because one of the very important thing about the ESG into the operational of the hotel is recognizing the risk, minimize the risk of your operational to make sure that everything under the control, right? So it's simple. Like we heard in many times, like, oh, we go to the hotel, but the air conditioning is not work well. So the GM is reported by the technical engineering team. Okay, it's broken. We don't know about that. Maybe the vendor. So in the future, and actually already happened in the world, that AI will detect any risk of the broken equipment that impact into the guest experience in the hotel to make sure that there are no risk of that kind of performance to the guest, right? So I think like utilizing the right technologies, right application with clear roadmap will help you to make sure that you achieve the good performance of investing, of applying technology into your daily operational of your hotel.
Many thanks, Mr. Cường. And we discussed about the impact, the investment, the technology, the how to promote it, and as well as the influence to the uniqueness. Sometimes we mentioned about the difficulties of ESG applying in each country or each business. So I'd like to discuss more about the challenges. So what the challenges my ESG face? Could you sharing more specific, and how to overcome those challenges and maintain the achievements of this model? Can you please share with us? I think with this question, Dr. Morgan and Mr. Quang can share with us.
I think Quang go first on this one. Can't wait to answer this.
Thank you. How did you know that? I think that we do have a lot of challenges. Again, I have this kind of like questions a lot everywhere I go because they know that I'm working in this field. So they always ask me that there are so many challenges. How do we can be able to overcome this? Firstly, I think that from the obviously from the building code regulation and all kind of like standards. In Vietnam, there's even many things are unknown and many things are unclear. So for any client to make a decision to pursue any kind of international standard or to pursue any kind of like measurement, like Mr. Cường said or Dr. Morgan said, they have to think a lot. They have to do a lot of research, and sometimes they have to form their own ESG board. They have to form their own business development. Like in order to have their own conclusion before that they will ask for the independent consultants. So firstly, I think we need to have the very clear building code about the green buildings, because as you know right now that even the Ministry of Construction, they do not have any kind of official standard or building code for the green building. So it's up to the market to decide whether that they want to follow LEED from the US, or whether that they want to follow EDGE from IC World Bank Group, or whether that they want to follow Green Mark from Singapore, or maybe that they can be able to use some other recent things like Fit Well. There's a lot of different kind of tools for the business to measure their sustainability. So the second thing is actually the cost, obviously. Like we all mentioned from the beginning, a lot of business, especially when they're working in the hotel industry, they don't have a lot of budget. They don't have a lot of initial investment for the green strategy and green initiative. So they always ask me, if I follow that green building certification, once they got certified, can I be able to increase the rental fee, or whether can I be able to charge the guests with more money? The answer sometimes is no. Because the guests, they do not know much about it. They don't know how much money that we pay extra for the green building. So sometimes that is also remain something that is the client has to think about it, because they need to pay initial investment for the long-term benefits. And number three, I think that the challenges right now is everybody is talking about the net zero by 2050. Even the Prime Minister, he mentioned a couple of times at the COP21 and recently, and in some other COP. And all of us, we have a lot of support from the government. We have a lot of support from the news and press to pursue the net zero by 2050. So that is the biggest challenge, because right now, in all over Vietnam, we only have over 300 green certified buildings. Among them, I think this is only fewer than 20 hotels, not even 20 hotels. So we are talking about very big hospitality industry at the moment here. But if we look at numbers of hotels that have the independent green building certification, not many. So that is a very big challenge. And in Vietnam right now, there are no net zero energy building yet. So it would be very difficult for us to can be able to deliver net zero emission by 2050. So those are the three challenges. But how to overcome those challenges and maintain the attractiveness of this model? I think that it's very tough. I think obviously that you have to be consistency in the way that you pursue the ESG and sustainability, because they have applied it very well in other countries and other markets. Recently that I went to some of the expo in Germany, and people don't even talk about the green building certification anymore. It seems like all the green and all the sustainability is already embedded very well in their core business. They don't even need to promote that. They don't even need to use the terms green in all the marketing and brochures, right? In Vietnam, that we do see eco, we see sustainable, we see green, we see a lot of those kind of, to me, sometimes it's greenwashing. But if I go to Singapore, I go to other market, those terms is no longer appears in the public information. So it has to be committed. You have to be, like consistent in things that we are doing about ESG, and then we'll have the good result, just like other markets. Mr. Morgan, please.
No, thank you for that overview, and I can understand your passion, and I agree with you that at the moment ESG is a buzzword, and we say green and we say eco this and that, but eventually it becomes the norm, right? So some of the things that we've been challenged with is the regulatory landscape. Because really, from a national perspective, if the government has implemented conformances to laws and bylaws, we are obligated as in the hospitality industry to follow. So if they are lacking in the country of Vietnam, most of the bigger organizations follow international standards, right? It's quite a trend that other organizations or countries adapt international standards, and then they just put it, they target it to suit the national framework, right? The other challenges that you have is that businesses to choose the right set of ESG criteria, because it needs to be tailored towards your business stream, and that has to come forth from a couple of origins. One, you need to have a good framework, but the framework can't be developed if you haven't undertaken a due diligence on your business streams. But to undertake your due diligence on your business streams, you need to have education on what ESG is. So how we adapt that is actually appoint somebody that has ESG capacity and experiences, and then they chisel a strategy going forward and a roadmap. So then is some concerns. The other concern is existing infrastructure. So you've already built your hotel that's not green anymore. So what can you do to adapt that? So there's some elements of cost. One is focusing on renewable energy. So you have the adaptability. You can't knock your building down per se. So you can adjust it with some green technology. And I'm sure Mr. Quang will have some great concepts over there. The other thing is when you, for instance, to elaborate on that, if you've got air conditioners that use HFC, the law and the regulations are being adapted in currently with the government on changing over to the user-friendly or HFO. There's currently a cost for that, but the government, I think by 2030 or 2035, says that no more HFC. Why? Because the impact on GHGs is astronomically huge. 1 kilogram of that can be 800 or 1,000 tons of GHG. So when you refurbish or you refill, you should change over to HFO. If you don't, you create an adaptability strategy, changing that. And that's what we're doing at VinPool. We're adapting all our air conditioners because it's a very hot climate. Air conditioning is very friendly. But we have an adaptability plan of as we move along, we change over to HFO as per se. I think also the other thing that comes into understanding is the leadership. If you don't have strong leadership in your organization that understands the fundamentals and the need for change to ESG, your company will not transition over to an eco or green company. So those are a couple of things that I can think of off the top of the head. I don't know if Kuang's got any other elaboration to talk about. I'll see you in Singapore in 2 weeks' time, sir.
Yeah, I totally agree with Dr. Morgan and Mr. Quang. So for me, I think ESG actually, yes, there is many challenges when we try to adapt or we're gonna do. And the truth is, it's similar like when we don't know about marathon, but we can beat a marathon, like we can run for 24 kilometers. So it's all about like the very first step. And because ESG becomes something that in the trend that we have to. It's not like we are encouraged to do ESG, but in the way that we have to do. So the more and more companies are doing, the more and more pressure from the government side, from the partner side, everyone. So, but actually, when more and more companies are doing that, more and more hotels doing that, it means that we have more and more good practices to learn. We have more and more people in the market that understand about that. We have more partners who can help to support you. So I see that in terms of challenging, that I really agree with Dr. Morgan is about leadership. So I think that the more challenging is whether your leadership willing to start from today or not. Everything is ready there for you to transform, whether you really take the very first action. And one of the things I learned from the hospitality market is there's a Sustainable Hospitality Alliance. They're very active to share together a lot of association, a lot of partner, a lot of hotel to share all the good practices or even the ESG program for the hotel with the free. Everything is a very good information. And from that we see, that's why I mentioned from that we can see that it's all about your leadership, whether you really start your very first start or not. Everything is there already. And also in terms of the green building, I think one of very good things we learned is people always said the most net zero building is not there yet. It's been like more and more companies are developing the better net zero building. Recently we see that like ISG and one of their partners in UK, they are developing the very first net zero hotel in UK. And it's been like then more and more activity-based thermal ESG, every challenging that people face to develop their ESG, their green building, green hotel is in many good practices in the market, in the whole world. It's whether like you really learn about it, you really want to adapt it into your organization or not. And you really like as a leader, you really encourage your team, your people to adapt it or not. Yeah. So for my side, I'm very positive that actually there's no challenge in the coming way. The only challenge is about the leadership mindset, the leadership action. Yeah.
Yes, many thanks for your in-depth sharing, our three speakers. It can be seen clearly that many challenges are posed, which require businesses to come up with solutions that are suitable to the operating situation to overcome. And before the ESG become a norm in Vietnam, as you all mentioned, many businesses, they don't have the budgets for it, or we don't have the certified building a certified hotel for the ESG, and a lot of businesses, they even don't have they even don't think about it in their core value to invest, or even they don't know how to start with, how to implement it into the business. So that's why we come to the third discussion, that the efficiency implementation of green ecosystem according to ESG standards. And from a business perspective, and where should businesses need to start in managing and minimizing initial costs to ensure that sustainability of their strategy while still effectively optimizing long-term financial performance. And with this question, I'd like to invite Mr. Cương and then Dr. Morgan to share your in-depth about this.
I'll kick off, Quang, just to give you a chance to have a cup of coffee. So there's a misconception here that there's a huge expense for ESG implementation, and that's not really entirely true. If you're going to build a hotel and you do a cost analysis and you implement a green building and you implement GHG, renewable energy, and you change over to HFO, the long-term benefits is astronomically rewarding. So why do I say that? Because if you do early adaptation, you gain access to a debt, green funding, right, which is at a lower percentage than your normal loans. Now, there's readily available in the marketplace and financial institutions for companies that have a ESG portfolio and a sustainability approach and strategy. But funny enough, we don't have enough companies that are adapting or transitioning over to an ESG form of business strategy. So your finances are readily available. If you look at the market now, you'll see that there's a lot of funding provided by the United Nations activities, and the government themselves in Vietnam can't distribute this yet because they haven't got the regulatory requirements. But in anticipation of this, even your small, medium enterprises should also start adapting the approach to a green strategy in your business activities. It really, as mentioned by Quang, it really comes to the want and the will in your leadership team, because at the end of the day, the company is made up of leaders and people, right? For a early adaptation, it's easy to actually implement and work on your environmental compliances, biodiversity, GHG, and that, because those are the ones that give you the quickest rewards, even though they may be a little bit long-term, because you can measure that. The ones that are a little bit more challenging are your social understandings. Now, social understandings can be how you portray your attractiveness in terms of sustainability, right? But it also comes down to doing certification like ISO and things like that, because that's readily available. And that helps you also with your financing aspects. Then it also, another avenue that you should be focusing on is, I just lost my thought now, but there was an activity that if you have access to green financing, it also is a method of publicizing that you have a green finance debt, which is actually quite unique, because most people didn't want to, only in their reporting, financial reports annually do they disclose that. So those are some of the aspects that one can focus on. I think that the regulation is going to change very drastically this year and part of next year in Vin Group. in terms of our requirements. And then from a legislative requirements for national from Vietnam, there's going to be a lot more laws passed, where even it affects small, medium enterprises.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Morgan. It's there's people always said like we cannot change or make a good decision if we don't have good insight and data. So the fact what we can see is on the big and successful enterprise who well adopt ESG, the leader is always like CSO, Chief Sustainability Officer. And most of the CSO, their background is from CFO to transform to become the CSO. So we heard about like the CSO of the Sino Corporation in Hong Kong. So one of the very important factors for her is how she keep track the sustainability linked loan or green loan, a bond, in total of the debt, the loan, and also they track like the energy consumption, the waste, the water, everything. So to become like everything starts from you really understand what is going on inside your organization, and every data is measuring in the correct way, and also you understand what you expect in the future. Because like when you really understand that, you can have embedded your ESG strategy, your action into operational, and you easily to understand how to adapt the right information as a requirement of the ESG standard into your performance. So one of the very important thing that we see nowadays, like in Vietnam, we talk about IFRS as one of the standard for their financing reporting. And in the very latest version of IFRS, I think in already from 2020 or 2021, they already embedded the data, the factor of the ESG into their whole IFRS report, right? So everything, as I said, is starting from you really understand the data, operational data, which is not just like financial, but also in every department operational performance, right? For example, you have hotel, you have engineering team, you have room team, you have F&B, you have housekeeping, you have the procurement. So every team, every department, we really need to understand their operational performance. I talked to one of the procurement head of one of the very big hotel owner in Singapore. They have around 7 big hotels in Singapore. So he shared with me that he really understands on the procurement. For example, like how many ash they purchase every month. So how many plastic from that when they purchase ash for their hotel every month. So how they utilize the new material to recycle the whole plastic for their purchasing. So it's been like ESG is everything about data. When you really understand your data, your operational data, then that's a better ways for you to adapt any ESG standard, because you know what are going on inside your operation, your enterprise, and you understand the standard, then it's easier for you to embed that into your daily operation, and it's break down into every department, every decision maker into your organization. Yeah.
Many thanks for your sharing, Dr. Morgan and Mr. Kung. And as we mentioned and we discussed throughout from the start of the webinar until now, a very important factor in implementing and building ESG is the human factor. And you also talk a lot about the leadership in the challenge and also the strategy, the performance and the optimizing and everything else. So how do human factors affect the ESG implementation process? And can you share from your opinion, from your point of view, which one is more important, the business leaders or the direct operation staff? And I think this question, every our dear viewer like to hear the sharing from all our three experts. So I think we can start with Mr. Quang first, and then Mr. Kung and Dr. Morgan. Please.
Yeah, thank you. I think the human factor affect everything for everything because we. But what is more important, business leaders or direct operation staff? I think it depends on the stage of your business. I think that if you are just a startup business or you are the early birds in the market, obviously the business leader, they have a lot more information from their peers, from their colleagues, from a lot of association, so they can like do leadership better. But once you have those kind of like roadmap, those kind of like target and mission and vision for your ESG within your business, and then is what is more important is how you can be able to deliver all those kind of messages down to the direct operation staff, because at the end of the day that they are the one who has more contact with your with your guests. They have more contact with the tourists, so they need to understand what is the core principal things about their business, why that they want to save the energy, why that they want to save the water, why sometimes the rainwater can be not so clean, but why that we need to use the rainwater instead of clean water from the source, and why that sometimes we have to utilize the PV panels. Sometimes it can be very ugly when you put it on the rooftop, right? I have to have that question. Some people they put the PV panel on the rooftop and it looks so ugly sometimes. But why those PV panels become important? And sometimes the why that sometimes the clients or the guests, they don't want to use the bottle. Or sometimes they demand something that we cannot, it's against our sustainability approach. So it depends on what stage of your business. But yeah, that is my contribution. Mr. Kung.
Yeah, thank you. So I really love one thing that Mr. Kwang mentioned earlier is about like in some developed country they don't talk about ESG anymore. It's like become very something of a standard things. So I think the people is so important, and in certain of phase, the role of the leader or the direct operational staff be different, important in different way. Like when you start everything, right? It's always said like lead by example. So it's always like how the leader is showing their commitment, their action for every activity of ESG, that they want to become something like really like become the habit, the policy, the standard that they want to apply in their hotel. So in that very early stage, the role of the leader is so important, because you cannot make it become your culture, become the standard, become your become habit of your employees. It cannot be successful, right? But when everything becomes like daily operational, everybody understand about that. So it's all about the commitment of every employee to keep that standard, or even improving day by day, even 1% every day, right? And in that case, like how the leader is helping everyone recruit the right people, maintain the culture, to make sure that everything in the right standard, or even they can improve the better standard for the operational, right? Because when we see about the hospitality, actually the hospitality is have more pressure than other sector in terms of the ESG or sustainability. You not only have like some standard of the green building, but you also have some very specific standard, like if you have Earth check, you have a travel standard in terms of the sustainability. So the fact that that's why the leader and need to make sure that the whole team understand that we have many things to be better. We can be better every day, and we can achieve more things. And one of the very thing I love about the hospitality is about the international standard of that, right? I see that more Vietnamese that they work in more international hotel in other countries, not only in Vietnam. So the thing is, when you make sure that your employees is improving everything, it's also open the opportunity for themselves to not only work in Vietnam, but also work in other countries. Because you are ready for the good standard. You are ready for the international standard. Yeah, because like we understand that every staff, no staff gonna work in the one hotel like 10 years or 20 years, right? It's very rare case of that. They want to improve their career. They want to improve their life. So that's when they understand that when they work in the hotel, they keep pushing themselves in the better ability, better understanding, better standard. It's also contribute to the hotel today, but also open the new opportunity for them. So that will help them to become more engaged in every program, everything that the leader want to apply into their hotel. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kuang and Kuang. Some really strong words there, and appreciate that. And I think in the hospitality industry, we should realize that most of our personalities based are high EQ, emotional intelligence, right? And I think the responsibility to practice sustainable development belongs to everyone, not just anyone. And I think the board and management will publicize sustainable management commitments, their inspiration, and then it's really up to your staff who will operate and maintain actions to achieve commitments to these goals. That's all I really have to say on this, because I'm quite mindful that we have some pertinent questions coming up. Hopefully we can answer some of them.
Thank you so much for your in-depth all of our three speakers. And I hope that these sharings from all three experts will help our dear viewers have more suggestions to build the ESG strategies that are suitable for your own current development. And with that question, we close the discussion, and our webinar will continue with the Q&A section. So if you have any questions or concerns, please comment in the chat box so that the speakers can have your answers. And I can see that a lot of viewers have, they really care about the topic and comment many questions for all three speakers and for specific speakers they all have. And due to the limitation of the time, we will try to answer as much as we can. But in case if there are any question haven't been answered yet, we will make sure that we will ask the speakers and post it into our Facebook fan page. So don't worry. Please feel free to leave your question in the chat box. And we will pick some question for you to discuss right now. And the first question is come from a viewer with nickname Ngọc, and she commented that Vietnamese people are very smart and often choosing the letter G to invest first. But is that correct? Or in your opinion, which one should be invest first? I think this question should be addressed by Mr. Quang first, please.
Thanks for the question, Ms. Ngọc. I think that Vietnamese people are very smart. It is indeed. Sometimes that we are too smart. We try to do something that we can be able to save more money. That we can do something that we don't know that we against the law, but actually that we try to do that because we can have more economical benefits. So it tends to, because some clients they know that if they invest in the E first, that will be harder to measure, and sometimes that will cost them most of the money because actually that they have to make the new building to comply with the standard, or they need to renovate the building to follow the building certification. So, and even the S, which is the social too, so they have to do a lot of like campaigns and everything like that to talk about the sustainability. But G seem to them or to us is easier to do, and I know that there are some international standards. They have to kind of the set of guideline for the G. So you basically the owner only need to sign a piece of paper. They only need to kind of like post that on the corporate website and documents, and then it seems like that they already fulfill all the responsibility for the G. So, but that is not right. I think that is by the end of the day, it is not how we're going to cope with this kind of thing in the next 1 or 2 years, but it's going to be the long-term roadmap. So you will have to consider slowly. You have to consider the E and the S anyway. So why don't we start it step by step, small step at a time, but start with the E first, start with the S too. And then 5 years later, when you look at the way that you did in the past, you'll be proud of it, and then you can save more money. So that is my answer. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Quang. And I can see that for a lot of questions, some of them are mentioned, addressed partly by our experts during the discussion. So I will take another 2 questions. The next question from Ms. Linh Anh. She comments that feel like many companies apply ESG to show hot trends, but how can customers know the ESG standards they are working on, and should charge more on customers, or we take the cost on our side? Mr. Morgan, Dr. Morgan, can you please answer this?
Yes, and thank you, Ling Pham, for that question. So it's a little bit diverse, and I think some of the aspects that you need to focus on is, well, do you need to charge more is always a cost benefit. So it depends on your target audience and your capacity, right? So if you're a 5-star resort and you're ESG compliant and that, most customers are willing to pay an extra additional fee because you're GHG compliant, you manage your wastewater, you have a great green economy aspect, recyclability and that. So they're willing to pay that, right? Because they understand the importance of pollution and impact to the environment. Just looking for the second part of that question from Knock. Hold on. Well, the most important is a G. Hold on, let me just find the Knock here so I can see. Ling Pham. Here you go. All right. So she says, feel like many companies apply ESG to show hot trends, but so one of the things that's been introduced and is very strictly frowned upon is greenwashing, right? Where companies in the old days, and we mentioned that in our opening statement when I said that sustainability was misappropriated in commerce, and they stretched sustainability. The word stretched sustainability because they couldn't measure anything. It was just companies would just come out and say we love the environment and we hug all trees, right? But actually, when you reviewed their strategy, it was all greenwashing, and it was made based to attract more shareholder sentiments. But nowadays, you have reporting requirements that you can track where customers can see. The AI is a very useful tool. You say that you want to invest in the money that you put forward to GSM, our transport taxi services and that stuff. You can actually have apps that actually track where you've planted the tree. If your money goes towards good environmental management programs, right? So it's really coming down to AI now, a lot of that. Then it's your sustainability report, like we mentioned previously. Even your annual financial reports also have an element of ESG or sustainability in them as such. In terms of hot trends, just trying to understand that. So yes, you'll get trends that occur in the ESG field. Currently, you've got procurement and the traceability of your materials, right? Which is conflict minerals, which we didn't really breach or touch on. So you have certification on many of these understandings these days. There was a topic that they also mentioned that, well, how do we measure our GHG and who certifies it? Well, if you're globally orientated in other countries, UNFCCC will certify your GHG aspects, and then they'll publish that. That organization will publish that on the web. They'll say they're ISO 14001 compliant, etc. They've got a social ISO compliance aspect. But however, in Vietnam, we don't have on a GHG. We haven't. The government hasn't publicized the agencies that are UNFCCC certified, although there are. At the moment, what we undertake is we utilize those agencies to review our GHG emission aspects, and then we still publicize in our financial annual report our GHG emissions, because we feel that that is an obligation for our shareholders and our stakeholders to understand. And then, of course, lastly but not least, is the activities in the web. You've got bookings.com that do regular statistics on views that are out there. But globally, from a position of Vin Groups, we follow international standards. One, because they are lacking in Vietnam. And two, it also then promotes our sentiments to customers and things similar to that. So we'll follow things, or we'll upload our data on the CDP platform, which is a carbon disclosure platform, which is internationally recognized. We'll follow a reduction plan for our GHG for the whole of Vin Group. Currently, it's at 7% per annum, which is quite a 7% of 1.6 million TCO2 for scope 1 and 2 is quite a significant mile setting. So environment is very easy to track. For social aspects, we do regular social audits in our organizations, and that would be a good focal point for the hospitality industry to see that we are conforming to no issues with labor laws and diversity, equality, and inclusion. I'm not too sure if anybody else would like to elaborate on that.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. And the next questions will come from a viewer. He asked, what are the challenges when combining technology with ESG standards? And can you please share with us, Mr. Kuang, because you have so many years experience in the field?
I think basically there's only two things. One is you really understand your requirement, your own requirement about the technology. That's what you want to adapt and to receive the right return on investment on that. And of course, that's need to link with the right ESG standard that you or ESG factor that you want to measure it. For example, like in terms of the carbon. So when we talk about carbon, is there's one of the commitment of the hospitality industry is like we try to reduction around 66% of the carbon by 2030, compare with the total carbon that in 1 year is 2010, and by 2050 we try to reduction around 90% of the carbon compared with 2010 to achieve the Paris Agreement COP21. So like for example, if you really understand, okay, I want to track carbon, I want to utilize technology to really measure and reduction of the carbon for our hotel to align with that whole standard. So that's the right thing that you can start to looking for, and to there's actually nowadays there are a lot of technology partners which can easily help you to measuring and understanding and reduction of kind of things. The second thing is really like you really keep track of the data. You really keep taking an action on every data that you receive or not. Or you like we talk about like greenwashing, right? Is like a lot of case like they really keep track of data, but they don't take any action further on that, or they don't really like reporting in the right information. So I think like adapting technologies for the ESG standard nowadays is quite easy because you have a lot of technology partner technology which can support you on that. And come back only like you really understand what you want or not. The use case you apply, the budget stream you need to repair. And the second thing, like whether you really take action when you got the data or not. Then you see the value of the technology that you apply. If you apply technology, then you don't take any action, then no technology can help you to really achieve the ESG standard. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Cương. And I will have another questions which come from a viewer named Aaron. Many thanks, Aaron, for joining our webinar discussion. So enthusiastic. He left 3 questions, and among those 3, I'd like to bring to the table the second question. He asked, in the context of Sapa unique cultural heritage, how can ESG strategies be designed to contribute to cultural preservation and show respect for the local traditions and way of life? I think the story of local identities and cultural preservation has been raised for a long time, and then with the ESG is coming back. With these questions, I'd like to invite Mr. Quang. Can you please share your opinion with us?
Yeah, sure. I think that this one is a very interesting question, and it's actually very specific about the Sapa. So Sapa, that I've been there for 2 times, and although I haven't been there for the last 10 years, but I know that through the news and everything like that, Sapa is no longer a place that people want to go there. What happened? Whether because that we build too many buildings there, or whether that the developers or even the local residents that they don't respect the the beauty of the site, don't respect the cultural heritage like you mentioned. So I'm from my background as an architect, so I will focus more on the environmental, and then I hope that Dr. Morgan and Mr. Kung will elaborate more on the S energy. So I think that I have this kind of, because sometimes I do the master planning projects, not in Sabah but some other kind of mountainside. We have a similar problems. The clients always want to optimize their investment. So I always tell them that if you want to choose us as a green building consultants, you need to reduce the density. You have to have more trees. You cannot follow exactly the same model that you did very successfully 10 years ago. Now it's different story now, especially that we see that even the younger generation now they have more money and they more awareness about the global climate change and everything like that. So they will more really consider where that they want to go. And then obviously, sometimes that I don't have the same common understanding from my client. Sometimes that they will go to another client, or sometimes that they will ask us, okay, I will choose you, but you have to make sure that we have the maximum density. So my response to my staff, other designer, is that okay, somehow that we need to design the building, but we want to make sure that at least that we don't do much harmful compared to all the design scheme, right? So we minimize that because at today that we cannot be perfect. We cannot give a perfect ESG strategy for all the projects, but little by little, at least that we show our commitment, at least that we show our innovation and our initiative, and then slowly that will convince the clients. So that is my response to your question, Mr. Aaron.
Yeah, I also want to really like sharing my view on this because yeah, I also have a customer in Sapa and also in Bukanchat. So looking at Sapa is you can say like one of the challenge for Sapa nowadays is about the very high density of the building in the central of the Sapa, and that's sort of high up and density is really like heavily impact on the imaging of the Sapa in general, right? Like when we compare Sapa with like Bali in terms of like the standard, that's not Bali is not that have density. But and when we talk about ESG for the hotel in Sapa, I think there's some advantage and disadvantage to apply the ESG at Lào Cai or Sapa specifically, because there's very like many good things about that area, right? Good scenario, a lot of good hill, a lot of trees there already, very rich culture, very like warm welcome of the local people in many like sector. So that's kind of very advantage of that. And basically in that area, you already have some of like good imaging from the traveler that I want to go, let's have area. And I think similarly with the Sapa, there's two very successful projects in terms of in the mountain area for hotel resorts. One is Papiu in Hà Giang, and the other one is Abana Retreat in Hòa Bình. So they take advantage of the scenario, everything, the environment, and they embedded their ESG into their daily operation of the hotel design services, and also basically hotel also bring a lot of chance for local people to work, but that also very challenging for the hotel in that Sapa or Lào Cai market to recruit the employee. When we go there, one of the challenging when I talk to on the hotel is it's really hard to hire employee, and not many people from other area want to travel there for work in the long term. So That's why ESG becomes so important for your hotel, especially as to be more competitive with other hotels. When you do well with S, you make sure that your employees are well cared, so take care of you, and in return, the engagement with you and your society, your local community become better. And also that's important for you as a hotel investor or owner, but also important to keep really competitive in the market of the many more hotels there, and also make sure that you are can be more outstanding in the long run of that market. Yeah. And make sure that you also can maintain the very good team, leadership team there, also employee there to maintain the quality, the standard, the ESG that you want to achieve.
Many thanks, Mr. Quang and Mr. Cường. And Dr. Morgan, before you sharing your view, may I ask this, bring it to the larger scope, besides Sapa, but also other areas of Vietnam, about the story of local identity, cultural and scenery uniqueness, and also the community. So because as you manage many properties throughout the Vietnam landscape, so you must have many experience about this. Can you share with us?
Yeah, I think, and thank Aaron, and as well as the feedback from Quan and Kuang were very thoughtful. It's probably a very difficult topic to itemize just on one singular location like Sapa, but I think in general context, yeah, it's really comes down to regulatory requirements to preserve the attraction in that area. So we talk about Habana, there was the forest and the scenery and that, and they've done a great job back in Da Nang, I think it is, right, where they've used the cableway so they don't impact on the forestry and the ecosystem that's underneath it. You just travel with the cable and you get to enjoy the cableway cart as such. And it's no too different to Sapa, because what's happening, we've got a lot of the buildings going up over there, but they're not built to a theme, and there should be some regulatory aspects there. So we're in an environment that is, what's the attractability of that area? So that area's attractability is really based on your environment, the views and things like that, right? So it should be theme based. And it should be controlled. The expansion of your city should be undergo an impact assessment. It's quite common terminology that we do for our VinHomes and our real estates, and that we do an EIA, environmental impact assessment, and part of that is the social aspect. So you add the S onto that, right? Then it's the preservation of that. So when we build these hotels and things like that, they need to be there because of the climate that's exposed. It's very cold and wet, whereas in other parts of Vietnam it's very dry. So you build, and I'm probably stepping on Quan's toes over here, where you build to conditions as well, right? But I think the main impact on these areas is the social impact to culture, because when you go to Sapa, we've influenced with new business activities coming in. We've changed the culture where people were used to forage in the forest, and that now their means of income has been affected. So you have to really look at a long-term impact assessment as to what your hotel will do. So if it's in a normal built-up environment and that's the impact assessment, then it really comes down to GHG and things like that, and your social, a little bit of social norm. But if you're going into an area that's not been treated before and hasn't undergone an impact assessment, you should consider that. Now, impact assessments are readily available by the government. I know that the EIAs and that are disclosed. So there's one place that you can look at. But preservation of cultural heritage sites, and that is very, very important. Your tourism is now moving towards the preservation of that. And that's a key word, is preservation. How do you do that? So you have to implement systems and programs. You have to actually get a third-party audit to conduct. You need to tailor your programs to meet the cultural and ethical understandings of the community so that you minimize the impact of your building to that environment. And the only way you can do this is create a relationship with the local community. You can't sit in your hotel and expect that everything's going to be okay. You need to go and engage. You need to find out what their concerns are, what their causes. How can you contribute to their local income bracket without impeding on their cultural understandings? So we can talk a long time on this topic, but I think I've given you some coverage there.
Yes, thank you so much for your sharing. And this question also ends to the exciting discussion because the time is limited. So for questions that have not been answered yet, as mentioned before, we will summarize and post the answers of our speakers on CIHMS fan page. And on behalf of VinHMS team, I would like to sincerely thank our speakers and of our dear viewers for taking the time to accompany with us, VinHMS, in today's webinar. And for more information about the next webinar, please follow the latest information on our Facebook fan page. And goodbye and see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kwan, Kuang. Lovely talking with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.